Well, I guess first off,
How about those Dodgers?
I don't know shit about the Dodgers. I live in Canton, Ohio.
Yeah,
So.
me neither. Okay.
But I know of the Dodgers. I am from California, as are you.
How about those Angels?
They fly,
That is true.
and they're owned by Disney.
Dodgers dodge, Angels fly. Now let's think of something to talk about. Maybe we're trying too hard to think of something to talk about. Maybe we should
go
just
with
fucking talk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll just talk.
Well, with that said, would you like to ring us in this time, sir?
You prefer to shower or take a bath?
No, I meant
No, I'm
like
just kidding.
introduce ourselves.
Oh, yes.
Like do the intro.
Yeah, this is the Jay and Mark podcast. I am Mark. To my right is...
I am Mark. I don't know why I asked you to do this.
Yeah, I didn't know I was going to say something fucked up.
Yes, but no, I am Mark, and this is
And
Jay.
I am Jared. Or Jay.
Jay.
I am Jay.
Oh. And this is episode 2.
Yep.
Jay and Mark.
Yes, it is. And again, hopefully we finally figured out what our sound problem is.
Yes.
Hopefully.
We spent most of our time that we
most of
should
the
have been
afternoon.
preparing the audio and not the show itself. So
Right. But
hopefully the audio sounds better this time, and you're thankful for it.
yes. And we've got new mics coming tomorrow.
Yes, we do.
So hopefully that'll help too.
Progress in the world
Yes.
of our podcast here. Also, I guess I need to mention that we are also facing the camera more thanks to a buddy at work named Jesse Fuller.
Thanks, Jesse.
Who,
Hopefully facing it this way makes me look like less of a fat ass.
yeah,
I'm hoping.
yeah. I mean, I know that was a worry of yours.
It was, because, well, and I'm sure everyone was thinking it that saw the video podcast. Damn, he looks like a fucking fat ass.
I don't know. I didn't hear any feedback like that, so.
Oh. Maybe I just care too much.
Perhaps, sir.
I don't know. Maybe I need to do a few more sit-ups. Although, I just read a thing the other day. Do you know sit-ups don't even help you lose weight?
No?
Nope.
What, do they just build muscle?
Well, I guess I don't remember too much about it, but I remember seeing that it doesn't help you lose weight at all. It'll tone the muscles, the abdominal muscles, but it won't actually help you lose any weight. In order to lose weight, you have to increase your heart rate and all kinds of other stuff, and that just doesn't do it.
Huh.
Basically, all you're doing is flexing your abdominal muscles, and it doesn't do shit.
So really, like, you're prepping your sexiness for when you do lose the weight.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's why you never see results.
Yeah.
Huh. But I mean, the
'Cause
action of that
I'm
itself doesn't burn anything?
No.
You would think it would with the burn and everything. I guess it's just the tearing of the muscles.
Yep. But apparently, according to the article that I was reading, doing sit-ups doesn't do shit for helping you lose weight. It helps tone the muscle underneath the fat, but you got to lose the fat in order to see
Crazy.
it. Yeah.
The more you know.
Right?
Sponsored by Madcast.
Right.
Madcast Media.
God. People are just liars.
I actually, to stick with some kind of like scientific or medical, It's all science.
Science, bitch.
But I read that there's venom in a Brazilian wasp called the Brazilian. I think it's called the Brazilian social wasp, is what it said. Uh, its fucking venom cures cancer.
What?
Yeah, like there's somewhat like here. It said it creates gaping holes that allow molecules crucial for for cell function to leak out thanks to a toxin found in the venom known as MP1 that selectively kills cancer cells without harming normal cells. So it actually goes in there, it selects the cancer cells and kills those and leaves your normal cells alone. Yeah, almost like it was
Wow, I don't even know.
engineered for that purpose.
So why are we not doing anything with that?
I guess we are. This was published or announced September 1st in Biophysical Journal, in a study in Biophysical Journal.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's huge. Now, whether anything comes of it, I do not know because we have heard shit like this before.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Why? Well,
Like they said, like scorpion venom, some kind of scorpion venom does the same thing. I saw this on a documentary on like the Discovery Channel at like a friend's house, probably like 5-6 years ago, maybe longer, about scorpion venom.
does the same thing.
Yeah, and nothing developed. We
Well,
still have people battling cancer.
That's because, like we talked about in episode 00, there's more money in treating it than there is curing it.
Yeah, it's a business, it's an industry, and without it, that industry dies. People lose billions of dollars, and not just hospitals and shit, like pharmaceutical companies, big businessmen that are fucking funding the pharmaceutical companies, like everyone involved. It's a huge industry, so like that's why you're not gonna. That's why you didn't hear about it. Probably.
Science,
Shit.
bitch.
I think that's like politics or economics or just straight up greed.
Yeah, it. Fucking greedy bastards.
Fucking greedy bastards.
Well, I mean, think about it. If well, with what Dad's going through,
Yeah.
bite him with a snake. See what it does.
That's a whole nother set of problems. Bite him with a snake.
Or whatever it is. Whether they gotta bite him or they just inject him. Or
It's a wasp. Nobody said
Oh, it's
it's
a
a wasp or a fucking.
oh,
It's
okay,
a
I missed.
fucking wasp
Okay, all right.
or
Sorry.
a scorpion, and you're just gonna like fucking let him get bit by a snake. Maybe that'll do something. Shit.
My bad.
No. But I see
don't-
what you're saying. Let him get stung by a wasp or whatever.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, why don't? Yeah.
No, I would say the better route would be to just like take wasp venom, take out of it whatever that thing is. I don't know what word it like chemical or that part of it
Yeah.
That
I don't know either.
does that.
I'm not smart enough.
Extract that shit. You know what I mean?
Right. Actually, speaking of venom, I also saw another thing online of what I don't even know what kind of fucking snake that was. It was maybe that's why I said snake, because I was trying to think of this other story. Maybe it's cobra venom.
Cobra venom.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's some sort of snake venom. And somebody did this video showing what it does to your blood.
Mhm.
And they took the snake and extracted the venom from its fangs, and then they took a syringe, sucked up the venom into the syringe, and then had this cup of blood. All they did was squirt it into the cup, mix it around, and the blood literally just turned into like a solid,
Yeah, I think
lump
I think I've
of,
seen something like this.
almost like like a Jello
It
consistency.
it went from a liquid to like a solid.
Right. That's weird. What was that?
Oh, that was my arm touching the outlet. So
Oh.
I apologize for the listeners who I may have alarmed.
Apologize.
Oh, you apologize. Maybe I can change it, but I've already spoke about it, so I might as well not, or else they're gonna be confused.
Right. But anyway.
Anyway, but yeah, no, it turned it into like a solid mass of something.
Yeah, it was almost like a Jello-y consistency. It was weird.
That is weird.
And I guess that's what kills you.
It's kind of like, you ever saw those videos? They use like those different liquids that turn each other clear or dark colored and shit to like explain atheism and Christianity or like other different ways of looking at life and shit. Like, it's hard to explain because I can't remember all the details, but they'll take like cola and then like whatever this like clear liquid is, and they'll pour Christianity into atheism, and atheism's like the clear thing, and Christianity, you can see right through it once you put it up against atheism and so forth, and like they just used it to explain how like Christianity is bullshit, basically. I think there might have been like a counter
And
one
they
where
did
they
it
did
with
the same
OxyClean.
thing, but they reversed the roles for Christians. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's beside the point. But
Yeah.
But yeah.
I turned off my mic. I didn't want to do that right into the mic.
No, that makes sense. You can hear the clicks though. It's like you doing the, what was it? The wood block during Family Ties. That's great. We're good at that.
We are.
We should put out an album.
I was going to say, we should do jingles.
Jingle all the way. Jamie, the Turbo Man doll. I bet if Jeff heard this, he's loving that right now.
Oh, God.
Jamie. You're a Coheed fan, right? Coheed and Cambria?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a big enough fan that I know as much about them as you do. I know a few of their songs that I really like, but I couldn't even tell you what they're called.
Coheed and Cambria is a really good band that I enjoy.
They're a fantastic
Progressive
band.
rock band.
They're a fantastic band, and he's one hell of a guitar player.
The both of the guitar players are Travis Stever and Claudio P. Sanchez.
P?
Yeah, I think it's P. I follow him on Instagram, and that's his name, Claudio P. Sanchez. Maybe just P. Sanchez's. Dirty Sanchez. But no, they have a new album out, and they've released two. Well, not out yet, but it's coming out next month. But they've released 2 songs from it already, and the first one I did not like. I mean, I liked it, but usually when I hear new Coheed songs, they kind of have to grow on me because they always like progress so much with every album.
Mm-hmm.
I have the same problem with Foxy Shazam. Like I usually don't like what I hear as much as their older stuff. When I first hear their new stuff, you know what I mean? But the more I listen to it, the more I grow to really like it a lot. And that's how I am with Coheed with each new album, you know what I mean? Because they kind of they progress over time, you know, like most bands.
Right.
But that's how I felt about the first song, and that song grew on me. But this next one I liked from the one they just released like 2 days ago or 3 days ago. I really enjoyed.
I like the one where he says, "You see this? This is my boomstick."
That's
I love that one. That's my favorite song.
that's
I
from
don't know what it's called though.
Army of Darkness. You ever saw Army of Darkness?
No. And then there's no.
That's a clip from Army of Darkness. Bruce Campbell. You saw Evil Dead?
Yeah.
That was a sequel to Evil Dead.
Oh, okay. But I like that song. There's another one that I really like, and I couldn't even tell you.
That was June Song Provision. That was the acoustic demo
Yeah.
of June Song Provision.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I got really excited about that just now. Yeah.
That's a really good song.
It is a good song.
Both versions of that song are really good.
They have a couple other songs that I really like, but like I said, I don't know enough about them to know what the name of the song was, and I can't even remember how the other ones go.
It's probably Welcome Home.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's like the most popular song.
Can you?
Because it was on Rock Band.
Can you guess the other one?
I don't know. What do you?
I don't know either. That's why I say, can you guess the other one? Because you just guessed that one.
Probably like the suffering, or the crowing, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. But this is the first song they released. I'm gonna play a little bit of it for you. This is from the music video, so it's got like a little bit of an intro and shit. Here, I'll just skip through it so you can. This is the one that grew on me over time.
She's got such a cool voice.
Yeah. You either love it or you hate it, it seems. It's called You Got Spirit, Kid.
I like it.
Like your typical more upbeat Coheed song. Like that's the way I grew to know it, and the way I learned to love it. It's like it's typical Coheed, you know.
And it puts out a good message. Nobody gives a fuck about you, kid.
Yeah, yeah. And this is their first album that's not a concept. Well, supposedly not a concept. I think it has a weird concept, but it doesn't have to do with like their comic books and their like sci-fi story and shit. So this one they're stretching out a little bit. Being
Well, I just like that it's got a good message to it.
But this next one is called Here to Mars. And this song is really good. So much that Emily even said that like this can be our song, you know? You know what I mean? But no, this is a really good song. I enjoyed this one a lot. It's called Here to Mars. It's actually a lyric video. This is more Coheed like, you know. I'm not gonna play too much because I don't want to get in trouble, you know.
Right. It's good. I like it.
But yeah, that one I loved from the moment I heard it. That's a really good song. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the new album comes out. I believe it's October 9th.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Who? Oh, you're reading my Big Lebowski poster that no one listening or watching can see. So they
Dude,
have no idea.
the Chinaman
They just
is
think
not
you're,
the
like,
issue.
Saying fuck me.
I'm talking about drawing a line in the sand.
I'm drawing a line in the sand, dude.
Dude,
For those who love Big Lebowski, you would have really enjoyed that.
across the line. Across this line, you do not.
Walter, this isn't the guy who built the railroads here, man.
Dude, Chinaman is not. I can't even fucking read that.
Not the preferred nomenclature, I believe.
Asian American, please.
It's like, Walter, this isn't the guy who built the railroads here, man. The guy peed on my rug, man. Or something like that. I don't know. But
He peed on the dude's rug.
we murdered it. But
Yeah.
anybody who loves Lebowski will understand that whole segment there. Moving on now.
Moving on. Moving on. Random
I-
topic generator.
Yo, you're gonna do a random topic? Is that
Um,
gonna be a new thing here? Just a random topic?
I don't know.
We'll go with that, and then we'll go into something just like filler
Where did
shit.
it
I guess.
go?
Not that we're trying. To,
I hit the wrong button. Damn it.
what the
There
hell?
it is.
One of them fucking MTV girls.
If you could only eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
That's a good question.
Not really.
Oh. No, that is a good question.
If
though.
you okay.
I mean, it's not a good question, but it's a question that requires some thought. Right? If it's the last thing I'm going to eat for the rest of my not the last
It's
thing.
not the last.
But that's
it's
the
the
thing I'm going to
only
eat for the
thing.
rest of my life.
Yeah.
I better make it something that I really enjoy.
What do you really enjoy?
I really enjoy hummus and like crackers and like hummus and pita bread, so maybe that. But I don't know. That's a good question, man. That's
All right, let's try another one.
I guess hummus and pita bread.
We already talked about that earlier. Never mind. That's just a stupid question. Describe your perfect day.
Like, what the fuck is this? Is this like
What
am I joining a
motivates you,
dating
Mark?
site?
What motivates you, Mark? It actually says
This
Mark.
is, I veto this.
It actually says Mark. It says what motivates you, Mark?
Is that what it says?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
It says what motivates you, Mark.
You're a liar.
Okay.
Just lied to my face, sir. No. I'm gonna give you one more chance.
What is the biggest thing you've ever worn?
What the fuck?
One. Sorry.
Oh, one. The biggest thing I've ever won, like most expensive, or like
I don't know.
the biggest thing I've ever won. Well, I'm gonna go with like most. Like thing probably has the most value in
Okay.
like price and just the most okay. Biggest thing I've ever won. I haven't won much, so my girlfriend Emily. I won her heart.
Oh.
I'm just gonna go with that.
Oh, you fag. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
that's pretty lame, honestly. Like,
No, that's nice.
I mean, it's not. I don't want to get in trouble. It's not. It's just like I could have done better, you know.
These
Not
ques-
her.
These
I coulda
questions are stupid, so let's
Made it cooler.
let's not do that.
There is something though that I read.
What?
Are you a fan of like the Marvel movies? Like Thor, Iron Man, and
yeah, I like-
Avengers?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
You do know that Disney owns Marvel Studios,
Yes.
so technically those are all Disney movies.
Yes.
Well, up until just recently, Marvel, the head of Marvel, Kevin Feige, the guy responsible for this whole Marvel Cinematic Universe and its success. Well, I don't know if he's responsible, but I know he's the head of Marvel. And I'm pretty sure he was the one everybody had to go to sign off on shit.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have to go straight to the chairman and CEO or whoever of Disney. So Disney now is in charge of the Marvel Studios. Not necessarily in charge, but they have the last say. Like they rule, you know what I mean?
So we're gonna have cameos by Mickey Mouse.
No, well, I guess maybe, but I'm just saying like there's a chance that's when there's potential for the movies to start lacking, you know what I mean?
Right.
And from what I read, Disney considers the Avengers Age of Ultron, the most recent Avengers movie, a failure
Why?
because it made 200 million less than the first Avengers movie. Which sounds like a lot of money. 200 million is a lot of money, but when you think about it, when you look at how much Avengers, the first Avengers made, and Avengers: Age of Ultron made, doesn't seem like shit. 200 million. Okay. The first Avengers movie made 1.6 billion dollars.
Holy shit.
1.6 billion with a B, billion dollars.
Right.
Avengers: Age of Ultron made 1.4 billion dollars. And they consider that a failure.
That's retarded.
Yes. Yes.
That's retarded. I actually liked the second one. I liked them both a lot, but I think I liked the second Avengers movie more than the first. And I think
I'd probably say yeah.
And I think probably because the first one, I wasn't a big fan really of the Avengers, and I remember watching it and thinking it was good, but I think that turned me on more to the Avengers and got me more excited for the second one, and I think that's why I liked the second one better. Does that make sense?
You were more into the second one when you watched it.
Right.
You got more enjoyment.
Right. I saw the first Thor. I didn't see the second Thor
Is
movie.
enjoyment a word? I don't think so.
Enjoyment. Yeah, that's a word.
Is it? It just sounded weird coming out of my mouth. Anyway, I'm sorry. You got more out of it. Is basically all I was trying to say.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway,
What was I saying?
I can't remember. You got more. I said you got more enjoyment out of it. I didn't realize that was a word.
Thor. That's what I was saying. I didn't see the second Thor movie, and
Oh, that was.
but
that was
I
really
really
good.
liked the first one. I didn't see the second one. You mentioned another movie.
Iron Man.
Oh, I loved the Iron Man movies.
Iron Man movies are good. The third one, not so much. Wasn't as good as the first one. Was great. The second one was lacking. The third
Well,
one I didn't like so much.
I think, because I've never
It was good
been
for what it was.
too much into the superhero movies, ever really, but I really liked Iron Man because I love Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, he turned a lot of people around. I'm pretty sure he's responsible for why it all became so popular.
Yeah, and I love Robert Downey Jr. I think he's a fantastic actor. To your other point, though, with Disney, the new Star Wars movie, do you think they're going to fuck all that shit up?
No.
You think they're going to...
I think they know what they got there, and they know that they can't fuck it up.
You think?
Yeah, I don't think it would be the end of Disney if they fucked it up, but I think it would be bad. It would be really bad. Because, I mean, technically they fucked up the last three.
And that's, yeah.
Not Disney didn't, but the last three Star Wars movies were really shitty.
Oh, you didn't like Jar Jar Binks?
Fuck Jar Jar Binks. The only one that was passable was the third one for me, and that's because it was just so dark.
Yeah.
It could have been way better. I think all three of the movies could have been way better if they just got better actors to play Anakin. Because everybody else in the movie were fucking great actors, and they got rid of Jar Jar. But like Hayden Christensen was just a fucking emo kid.
Yeah.
Just a whiny little bitch. Like, how did that guy become Darth Vader?
I liked the little boy that played Anakin.
I liked him,
but
I mean, he wasn't a very good actor.
No, but he was cute. You know,
I guess. I mean, he got the job done. I think the first one was a kid movie, basically. And really, none of them really made sense. You never knew why anybody was doing anything, really. Most of the things they say in the movie don't make any fucking sense to anybody. And if you really think about it, a lot of the shit doesn't make any sense. I can't think of anything offhand, but a friend of mine showed me some videos that this guy just went through and explained to you just how fucking every single one of those movies were bullshit and don't make any fucking sense at all. And by the time you're done watching these videos, you're like, he's right. Why the fuck are they doing any of this? What is this movie about? Like, it's true. But no, to answer your question, I don't think they're gonna fuck this up. Because from what I hear, J.J. Abrams made it, and he's pretty fucking good. He's a huge Star Wars fan too, and like I said, they know what they have, and they know that they can't fuck it up.
Right.
Okay. Like I said, it may be Disney, but Disney, you know, they can fall too.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really have any. Um,
Especially from hearing what everybody's saying about it.
yeah, I didn't. I mean, I didn't really have any kind of point, really. I guess that I was trying to make with that question, but I was just curious of your thoughts
Mm.
because I know there was a lot of talk that when George Lucas sold the whole Star Wars thing to Disney, there was a lot of talk that they were gonna fuck it up. So I was just curious your thoughts.
Yeah, no. I think
Since
they
you
can't
know
do any worse than what George Lucas could do.
on those last three.
Yeah. Or even with the new ones, like especially because I don't know any details, so I don't want to talk about it too much. But especially from what I've read about where he was gonna go with it,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like what he was gonna like.
What was he gonna do?
Like I said, I don't really know too many. I don't remember too many details, so I don't want to talk about it too
Oh.
much. But from what I read, like you can look it up. It's out there. There's videos on YouTube. You can find articles on the internet and shit. But he talks about there's details out there about where he would have went with it, and from what I read, it was bad.
Okay. Well, like I said, I didn't really have much of a point with that I was trying to make. I just wanted to hear your thoughts.
No, I got you.
But-
I got you.
So,
So,
well, and you know a lot more about, you know, movies than I do. I know very few movies, but the few movies I know,
yeah, no. I mean, I know what I know.
I'm more into comedy, romance.
Yeah, it'll be romantic and funny, sir.
Yeah.
I'm sure viewers and listeners love it.
Yeah. No.
Today is Michael Keaton's birthday.
Excellent.
I believe he's 64. I'm gonna double check. But I believe Michael Keaton, known as Batman, recently as Birdman in that movie Birdman.
I hear that's the word.
Bird is the word.
That's what I'm
But
talking
Birdman is a fucking slick movie. I definitely
about.
recommend people
And pause.
checking that shit out.
Okay.
I don't understand what just happened.
That's where we're gonna insert the bird song. The bird is the word song.
Okay. All right. Yes, he is 64 today. Also Beetlejuice.
I did love Beetlejuice. That was a great movie.
They're making a sequel.
Really?
Yep.
With Winona Ryder.
With I believe everybody's back. She said she'd be in. Michael Keaton's in. Tim Burton's in. I haven't heard anything about Alec Baldwin or Gina Davis. I like it, but when she smiles, she shows too much cum. Anyway, Gina Davis. No, but from what I hear, it's that they're working on it. They're gonna make Beetlejuice 2. And I don't know if this is still the title, but the original title of the sequel they were gonna make before was called Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian.
Oh, jeez.
Now I don't know if that's what it is now, but I haven't heard any different.
That's gonna be ridiculous.
I don't know. It might be awesome.
Goes Hawaii. You sounded like him there for a second.
What?
I don't know. It's gonna be awesome.
I don't know.
You sound like Beetlejuice.
Like hey,
Hey, hey.
I haven't seen it in a while, so I don't know any lines to say.
Beetlejuice goes Hawaiian.
I think
I
he
guess-
said "fuck" it one time in that movie, didn't he? He said "fuck" in that movie.
Did he?
I think he did. I think he said "fuck" one time in that movie because I watched it. I watched it like a year or so, probably about 2 years ago, and I was really surprised at just how inappropriate it was for me as early as I saw it. Like Roger probably wouldn't have approved of it growing up. Our stepfather, for those who don't know, but approved of me watching it at such a young age. But I watched that like when I was a kid, to the point where I got a toy for Christmas. You remember? Dad got me a Beetlejuice toy for Christmas, and when I opened it up, the toy looked so much like Chucky that I thought it was Chucky, and I threw it across the fucking room and screamed. Like that's how young I was. That I wasn't able to like differentiate Chucky and Beetlejuice. And I think we were living in Tennessee, so I think I couldn't have been older than 4 years old when I saw Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know why I remember all that. But
I was
remember
gonna say
shit like that.
I don't really remember that, but
yeah.
well,
Michael
going
Keaton.
back to Disney.
Yeah.
I also remember seeing I just saw it the other day. A story on Facebook, everyone's favorite news source.
Yeah.
About all the hidden messages in the Disney movies.
I've seen a few like the sex stuff.
Yeah, the sex and the one that got me was Little Mermaid on the original cover.
All the dicks.
Yeah, apparently it was
There were like 2 or 3 dicks
yeah,
drawn into the underwater castle.
yeah. Apparently the guy that drew that for the cartoon and for the cover of the movie
Mhm.
was disgruntled and
Yeah, he was angry at the company for some reason.
right. So he drew a bunch of dicks.
Yeah, I just like that. So he drew a bunch of dicks.
He drew a bunch of dicks
like a fucking dick.
on all the art or on
all the
well,
pillars.
yeah, on the art for the movie. Also, there's the scene where Ariel, is it Ariel, the mermaid?
Yeah.
Okay, her and then the dude that she was in love with at their wedding.
Eric, the only like prince in a Disney movie that had a name, I think, or very few.
Huh.
Because other ones were like Prince
that's-
Charming or
yeah.
Prince whatever. I think
That's a good point.
there's like very few like princes in the movie that actually had a fucking name other than like Prince Ali, Ababa or whatever from Aladdin, but he
Right.
wasn't a real prince. I don't know. Don't quote me, Disney nuts out there. I don't want to fucking. Not that anybody listens, but just cover my ass here.
But anyway, at their wedding, the wedding scene, where the preacher or whatever he was, not preacher, but the guy officiating their wedding,
Yeah.
there's a scene where he pops a little boner.
Yeah, he has a boner.
Yeah, and it's real quick. It's just like boop, and then it's gone.
Yeah, like they just put that in there. All that really takes in the old school animation like that is just like put a
Yep.
a greater than sign.
Or less than, depending
A
on.
sideways tent.
But then there's a scene in what movie is that? Maybe it's Lion King, where there's like dust or something that flies up.
Yeah, that spell.
And it
Simba
spells out
lays
sex.
down on like a cliffside, and the dust and leaves go up, and it spells sex and
Yeah.
the debris, and like in
Those perverted motherfuckers.
and I believe it's Aladdin. When Jasmine's on like her balcony, and Aladdin like sneaks up on the balcony or something with the flying carpet, and is basically like trying to seduce her, I guess, basically, or like win her over, and the tiger's like coming at him, like growling at him and shit, and he's like, "Nice tiger," whatever, and then like, if you listen real close, you'll hear what sounds like the voice of Aladdin say, "Take off your clothes." Like you can hear it, dude. Like it's right there,
Huh.
clear as like if you put your head up to the speaker, you can hear a whisper in the like background noise. Take off your clothes, just like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Encouraging little girlies, but like subliminal messaging and shit.
Hmm.
I guess. I don't know if that's what that'd be considered.
I don't know.
Jeff would know.
Who?
You don't know Jeff, but he's a guy I work with. We're gonna do a podcast with him and a bunch of other dudes from work. Madcast coming soon, hopefully. And yeah, he's going to school. He wants to be a psychologist.
He'd
Or-
be fun to talk
yeah.
to then.
No, yeah, he's a good dude, and like, yeah, he's a smart guy. He knows a lot about this stuff. He'd be able to dig right into that shit.
We have our first caller.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is actually our second caller.
Oh.
And it might be the same person. I'm thinking.
And pause. Oh,
Yes.
did you see the MTV Awards?
I haven't.
Miley Cyrus, what a fucking whore.
but-
No joke. And when Nicki Minaj went up there and she's like, "What's good, bitch?" and I was like, I was so hoping she'd go across that stage and just knock that girl out.
See, I
because
didn't see any of this. I did see a GIF of where she exposed her breast.
she exposed a lot of stuff, And my thought on that is, first of all, at the risk of sounding old, shame on you, MTV, for even showing it. Because, no, I'm serious. There was one point where she was taking this selfie with all these fucking retarded people, and she goes, "Okay, everyone say marijuana," and I'm thinking, okay, you're doing this in front of all these fucking kids that are watching MTV Music Awards to see,
She don't care.
the Jonas Brothers or whoever it is that they like now, and she's dressed like a fucking whore for almost the entire thing. She does all these different changes. She came out at one point in this completely clear suit that just had all these random, like, dot things on it,
Yeah.
strategically placed, covering up her nipples. One was down there covering up her junk, but you could see through everything else. Clearly, she wasn't wearing, like, underwear or anything under this.
Yeah.
Completely naked under this thing, just looking like a fucking whore. and then there was another thing. You know how they do, like, the video clips, or not video clips, they always try and do something like a funny little skit here and there, and then they'll play the video for it, and then, I don't know if it's like,
Yeah, like a little intro to like the different.
yeah, there was
awards and
one
stuff.
where she's in her bedroom. Of course, she looks like a fucking whore there too. And then there's these two guys that's in there with her. And then all of a sudden, Billy Ray Cyrus, her dad, opens up the door, starts talking to him. Okay, kid, like they're having this fucking slumber party, her and these two dudes.
Yeah.
And he walks, and my first thought is, okay, why would he even play along with this bullshit? Because it
Well-
makes him look like a terrible dad, first of all.
Yeah.
It makes her look like a fucking whore. And he goes, okay, kids, it's time for you to go to bed. And then they're like, okay, Dad. And he goes out, closes his door, and then they light up fucking joints. And I'm like, are you
See-
fucking kidding me?
It's like she's doing it all on purpose. Like she's doing it for
Well,
that reason.
And my thought is, there is no fucking way I would let my kids watch this shit.
Yeah, no. MTV is not what it used to be.
No, absolutely not. MTV is
Dude, they have
fucking
shows.
terrible, and in my opinion, MTV needs to come off of television. now.
No, dude, they pretty much brainwash teenagers into thinking certain things and wanting to be a certain way. Like, dude, they have shows about pregnant teenagers, glorifying
Right?
pregnant teenagers. Like, people say, well, they're not glorifying it; they're showing it, how it really is and everything, and it's not all peachy keen. Like, yeah, but
Well-
like these people are becoming famous and being like admired and shit for it.
Right.
That's them glorifying.
For
it.
being teenage mothers, which no
Which-
disrespect to
yeah,
teenage
yeah.
mothers, but they're making it, oh, you're 14 years old and you got pregnant? That's great. Here's
Now
a whole bunch of money and a TV show.
Yeah, you can make a fucking career out of it. Not only that, but then you can be a fucking porn star because of it afterwards.
Right.
Like that one chick that did it. That's why I said it.
That
too.
shit. Well, I don't know.
No,
My
MTV.
my whole
gone
thoughts on
downhill.
all of that since
It's been going downhill
having
for quite
children.
some time now.
My whole thoughts on MTV, they're just. It's just a terrible network anymore.
Yeah.
The shows are terrible.
I don't think I watch anything at all that's been on MTV for like the last 10 years. Maybe like Jackass. I used to watch like Wild Boys and shit back in the day, but that was even longer than like 10 years ago, I think.
Right. Well, go back. Again, it's gonna make me sound really old.
Like
but,
MTV was
but
never
go
like
back
family friendly.
20 years ago, where, when they first started. I don't even know if it was 20 years ago, but with the very first Real World.
I remember that was L.A. Wasn't it?
It was
Los Angeles.
yeah.
I don't remember it, but I saw reruns.
The difference between, and I used to think a lot of that was bad back then, even watching it as a kid, thinking it was bad. But in comparison to when it started to now, all they fucking do on that show now is they get fucking wasted drunk, and they're fucking constantly.
Like all of each other.
They're fucking each other. They're bringing people home from the bars, and kids are watching this.
Yeah.
Teenage kids are watching this shit.
Thinking that's like, oh, this is what adulthood is.
Right.
No.
MTV, go fuck yourself. Terrible network.
That could be your segment, sir. You could have
And it's-
the go fuck yourself with Jay. You can just tell things. You can have a whole segment about
You
what
know-
you want to say to
You
go
know
fuck
what really
yourself.
grinds my gears?
Exactly, like Peter with Grind My Gears. But it could be like Jay says, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
You know what MTV? Jay says, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself,
Hey,
MTV.
you,
You go
Go
fuck
fuck
yourself. Go fuck yourself.
go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. And fuck you.
Oh god, yeah, no, that's it. We're doing that
What
every
the fuck,
episode.
Doug?
Think every week, bro. Something you want to tell to go fuck off.
All right.
Last time I think it was, what was it?
Ben
Facebook. You told Fuckerberg.
Oh, yep.
That was the first
Yeah,
episode.
fuck you, Mark Zuckerberg. The first 0-0 episode was fuck you, Ben Affleck.
Well, I think those were both 0-0. I don't think you said
Oh.
fuck you to anybody really in the last one.
Oh, okay.
But this, we'll keep it alive.
All right.
You
Well-
can
well,
do
fuck
another.
you, MTV.
You can go ahead and say fuck you to another thing right now just to make up for that one episode. See, don't just say fuck you to things just for the sake of saying fuck
Yeah,
you.
no, I
we
was
should
trying.
just keep
Yeah, I
it.
was trying to think of something
Just the
really
way
good to
it-
say "fuck you" about, and I had something in mind, but then I thought, nah, he probably wouldn't want me to say that because I was going to say "fuck you" to a certain person, but then I thought, no, he probably wouldn't want me to say that about that person, so
Oh, I got you. Maybe
I'm going to keep that "fuck you" to myself.
I got you. I think we'll talk about it.
But I'll tell you, it really grinds my gears.
It really grinds his gears.
Grinds my gears.
That's not from any particular show at all.
No.
For the,
Nope.
Yeah.
So that was my rant about MTV. Fuck you, MTV. Fuck you,
Fucking MTV girls.
Miley Cyrus, you little fucking dirtbag whore. You know, no, I'm not even gonna say that. That is a terrible thing for me to say. I'm not even gonna say that. I was gonna say something, but it was really bad.
Now
and
you
it
gotta
was,
say it.
well, no, because it's wishing something really bad on her that would straighten her ass out, and I'm not gonna do that. But just for God's sake, straighten your shit out.
Yeah.
That girl's, I don't know. Dan, my buddy Dan, he thinks that she's fucking brilliant because he says she's making all this money from being this whatever it is she's trying to be.
Well, no, I honestly
But-
I think that's what it is. It keeps her out there. If people are talking about her, that's like that term. Any publicity is good publicity, or whatever.
Right. And that's where I come with shame on you, MTV, because you're allowing it to happen and
Yeah.
influence children. And shame on you, Miley Cyrus's parents, because you guys are just fucking retards. Because your daughter is a fucking whore and you're allowing it and promoting it. Instead of somebody saying, Miley, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, I've seen her on she was on Jimmy Kimmel not too long ago, and she just all she had on was like a jacket.
Where
That,
she was
like-
doing the interviews out on the street?
She did that too, but
I saw that.
I'm talking about the actual interview on the show.
Mm-hmm.
She just had like heart pasties on her nipples, and that's it. She just had a jacket over top.
She did an episode on Ellen DeGeneres. I love her show, but
really
I think she's so fucking funny. But she had Miley Cyrus on, and she was dressed like a little fucking hoochie on there too. She wasn't wearing like anything. It was like she was wearing, it was like just these little panty like whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know if they were actual panties or not, but they looked like panties. And then, like you said, she was just wearing this coat over top of it, and clearly nothing on under the coat.
Yeah,
And
apparently that's
I don't understand why people are allowing her to do this
just because people are like,
on television, where I don't know. I feel like I sound really old by saying all this stuff, but
no, no.
I don't understand why anybody is allowing.
Because technically, she's not really like breaking any laws or anything. Like they can't stop her really. But anyway, the reason I brought up her on Jimmy Kimmel is she talked about like what her dad fucking thinks about it and shit, and she said supposedly. Well, no, she did say this, but like I'm paraphrasing. That he thinks it's better for her to be like that, basically. I don't know what the term she used for it. And a good person than be like normal and be like a total bitch. That's what she said.
I would rather see her be normal and a total bitch than showing all these little girls that look up to her and want to be like her that it's okay to act like a fucking whore.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. She can't do it forever, you know what I mean?
But like Kermit the Frog says, that's none of my business.
Is that what fucking Kermit says? I don't understand.
It's one of those Facebook memes where if somebody does something fucked up, Kermit makes a little comment about it, and then at the bottom it says, "But that's none of my business." But he has something to say about it.
Fucking Kermit.
Yeah.
Kermit.
Did you hear him and Miss Piggy broke up?
I was just thinking about that.
And apparently, right now, he's denying accusations. Jen was just telling me this. That
This is ridiculous.
he's been denying accusations that he cheated on Miss Piggy with this other chick that looks like Miss Piggy.
That's so silly.
I know.
That's so silly.
It's funny, but it's
I mean, it is funny. Like, it's cute in that
Right.
sort of way, but like, that people are like, this is a news story. You know what I mean? Like, this
Right.
is something somebody wrote about.
right.
It's just so silly. It's
Yeah.
like American Idol being on the news. Like them
Yeah.
talking about American Idol on the news.
Right.
Which there's something I could fill in for the fuck yous for Jared. I'm gonna give you something. And this is something that I don't even think happens anymore because wasn't it canceled? It's about to end or it has ended.
I don't
American
think
Idol.
Yeah, I don't think it was canceled. I think they're making this their last season coming up.
At one point, that show was on 3 nights a week.
Right.
What the fuck? 3 nights a week? I couldn't get away from it. 3 nights a week.
Right. It was good when Simon was on it because I liked listening. He's probably the only person on that show that's ever been honest with people.
I mean, they were all good singers. I don't have like the show. I wasn't a fan of the show, but they're all good singers and shit. It's just not my cup of tea. Like they don't sing my type of music. Even the rocker guys on there, they sing rock music for people who don't like rock music.
Yeah.
Like it's just I don't know. It's pop music with a little bit of grunginess to it, basically. Like a lot of people love Daughtry, but to me, that's not like really rock. That's pop music.
I like Daughtry because he writes his own shit.
Yeah, but I mean, so does everyone. That's what everybody talks about. How awesome Taylor Swift is, and yeah, she's good at what she does and shit. But but every time they bring up, she's like, yeah, but she's not your typical pop star. She writes her own music and stuff, and I'm like, so does fucking like my dude Jeff that I was showing you the other day and made
Right.
Myriad, and he's not fucking making a shit ton of money. He's busting his ass.
Right.
Like, just I mean, I'm like I'm saying, like nothing against Taylor Swift or anything. It's just not my style, you know.
Right. Well, and everyone has their own style as far as music.
But
Just like-
everybody's up her ass, and I don't fucking really get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Taylor Swift. There's a couple songs that she's had that I've liked. I wouldn't say that I'm, like a big fan of hers. I like they're not like big names. They're more like YouTube stars, I guess.
Yeah.
Is what you'd call them.
No, that's how
There's-
most people make it these days.
Yeah,
anyway.
and there's some phenomenal talent on
for sure.
there's one kid I've watched his videos since forever ago. I remember seeing his very first video, but his name's Tyler Ward.
I've heard the name, I believe.
He's really good. And I think actually now, well, he still makes his own videos, but I think now he actually produces videos for other people now too.
Oh.
There's another band on there called Boyce Avenue. Those guys are fucking fantastic. They're more of a cover band, but they put their own spin on it, and I don't know if is it the right, saying they're Mexican? I don't think.
I don't. You mean is it like politically correct?
Yeah. But
I
I
don't know.
think, okay, we'll just go
They
Spanish.
are.
I think
they
they're
are.
Spanish.
Are they from Mexico?
No. I
Then
think
they're not Mexican.
they're Spanish. Would it be
Wherever they're
Spanish?
from, that's what they are. Like if they're from Venezuela, they're Venezuelan.
Okay.
Like I mean,
yeah, but they're
some people may take it offensively, but like that is
Okay. Well, I don't
Truth.
mean I don't
It
mean to
was- yeah.
offend anybody, and I actually really like this band, but they're called Boyce Avenue. So check them out, Boyce Avenue.
Boyce Avenue, ladies and gentlemen.
But I
don't
actually-
know who they are, but
I like listening to like a lot of these cover bands on YouTube,
really,
like Tyler Ward, Boyce Avenue.
I like
I
hearing
love listening-
covers, but I don't really necessarily listen to like cover bands. Like
Yeah.
I'll listen to other people do covers of songs in like a weird way that makes it sound cool.
Well, that's kind of what I mean.
Okay.
Um,
So they're just like groups of people that do covers of songs, not necessarily cover bands.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
they don't go out and like, hey, we're, you know,
Yeah.
we're
Like a tribute.
we're
band.
Zinc Zeppelin, a tribute band.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
that's a terrible name.
Yeah. But there's a lot of good musicians on YouTube that probably deserve the recognition that people like fucking Miley Cyrus is getting that she doesn't deserve because she's just a terrible influence.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I mean, I don't
and
like
these
to say
guys,
that people don't deserve it. I just think they're using it poorly.
No, I don't think Taylor Swift deserves it. I think she's a.
Well, I don't necessarily think I'm talking about Miley Cyrus because I don't really think Taylor Swift. She doesn't seem like a terrible
Oh,
person.
I said
don't
I just said
particularly
Taylor
like her
Swift,
music.
didn't I?
Yeah.
I meant Miley Cyrus.
I just think I think when you have that much influence on a group of people, especially young people, you have a responsibility
That
To be-
exactly.
to be someone if they're your role model, you have a responsibility to at least
Be a role model.
have some self-respect.
Have some self-respect.
But
be
I mean,
a
I
role
don't-
model.
She probably doesn't see it like that. She probably doesn't see that she's disrespecting her. She's just like, I mean, I was young too once. You know, she's just being that, I guess, or trying to make a name for herself or something. I don't know. But like, I'm not trying to defend her or anything. But I'm saying like, I'm sure she has like some weird perspective on it that we have no idea about. You know?
I don't know. I think she's fucking retarded, and she just doesn't know what the fuck she's
I
doing.
agree. I
And
don't
I think-
particularly enjoy her
I think-
shenanigans.
I think it's because people are paying her millions of dollars to be fucking retarded, and shame on those people too.
She herself, and this is what most people do today to be successful. They make themselves a brand or a product. The more famous she gets, the more money she'll make just by being somewhere or doing something or appearing somewhere or making an album and singing it there. Like the more she is out there, the more success she has, the more successful she's going to be, you know what I mean?
Well, I agree with that, but I still think she's a terrible influence.
I think it's all business.
And well, and that's what
think it's all
that's what my
business.
buddy Dan says too. He thinks that she's fucking genius, and he's told me that before.
But I wouldn't even call it genius because she's not the first. She's just doing what she's doing what Paris Hilton did. She's doing what probably a shit ton of people did and have for years now. 30, 40, hundreds maybe. I mean,
Well,
fuck.
yeah,
How long has advertising and branding and shit been around?
right. But there used to be more of a wholesome quality to advertising and branding. Now it's let's find the biggest whore we can find and make her rich and famous.
It's just about
and-
getting it out there, and whoever's out there the most, they're gonna fucking attach themselves to. It's like an
Well-
entourage, basically. You're benefiting from somebody else's success.
Well, they need to, and I mean the marketing people, and they need to attach themselves to people that deserve it more, in my opinion, and would just be better role models for
No, I
the
understand.
younger generation.
I understand.
Because think about it. Clay's about to be 16. I don't think he gives a shit about anything right now. But Cole, for example, is seeing this stuff. Mackenzie's going to grow up seeing this stuff. Hannah and Rachel and Christy Ann are growing up seeing this stuff.
These are all our nieces. and
Callan, yeah, nieces, nephews, my kids.
nephews. Various young relatives of ours.
Yeah, and just seeing the influence that these kids have on, or these celebrities have on the kids, is just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the networks that are putting them on TV or the record labels that are allowing them to make music. And let me go back for a second. I don't have so much of an issue with some of the songs that Miley Cyrus does. I've actually heard a few of her songs that I like.
Yeah.
The videos for them, on the other hand, are fucking terrible. And somebody needs to put a stop to that shit.
Well, I mean, I think I think it's just you're talking about how all the networks and like MTV, VH1, whoever puts all this shit out there is responsible for that. I think there's a market for that and there's a market for this, you know what I mean? And like
Well, her market needs
it's
to be.
just as much the responsibility of the parents to not allow their children to see these things as it is a responsibility of the networks or whoever, the media companies that are out there that are putting this shit out there to make sure that it's done on a medium in which the appropriate audience is seeing these things.
And for Miley Cyrus, that would be Pornhub.
Well, for Miley
Or-
Cyrus, it would be anything but like anything, during time of day when like children are are watching or like children's network. That's why they put movies unedited on at like midnight.
Right.
Or like most things that are rated M for mature are shown after like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? Like there are ratings for these things, and I think it's just as much the responsibility of the people and the parents to take responsibility for their own, you know what I mean, to pay attention to these rating systems and all these things. I mean, it's just like I'm not singling you out, but like you are just as responsible as these networks and these media publications that are putting this stuff out there, because it's not like they're not just like putting it out there and not telling you, like you're if you don't want them to see it, people should put forth the effort, at least the equal amount of effort, to make sure that it doesn't happen, just like they are putting out the effort to put it at certain times or on certain networks or with certain ratings and shit. Like so much so, like Conan O'Brien went to Comic-Con, and I forget why, or I don't know if it was Comic-Con, or no, it wasn't Comic-Con. He had an episode in which they had to rate it from TV 14 or whatever to TV MA because Ryan Reynolds was coming on and he was showing the Red Band Deadpool trailer, and they were doing like a lot of more mature audience bits and stuff like that, blood and gore, because that's what the movie was. Like it was a big deal that the movie was rated R and not PG-13, and Conan was living up to that hype.
Right.
Like that was an action taken by a network to make sure that the appropriate audiences were seeing these things, and they do those things. I mean, don't get me wrong, I hate these fucking huge companies
But
that
they don't
manipulate
all.
people. They brainwash motherfuckers. They're still doing that shit.
Right. But they don't all do that. Some of them, and I'm not trying to take anything away from the companies that do, take on that responsibility to be better.
Yeah.
And to make people aware, okay, we're going to show this, but you may not want to let your kids watch.
Yeah. There's definitely, like, for example, like networks like MTV that
They
pretty
don't
much
give a
just,
fuck.
Yeah, they really don't.
MTV doesn't give a shit about anything.
So much to the point that their productions are poorly done. Like there's constant problems at those award shows. Like so much that like they're hiring fucking amateurs, and they don't want to pay out the money to pay the people that really know what they're doing, or the people that do it successfully know that they're doing it successfully and are worth more than whatever. I don't know what the problem is, but I know MTV is fucking notorious for their fucking technical difficulties.
Well, they're also notorious for publicizing and showing kids that it's okay to be trashy, and it's not.
No.
I mean,
yeah, you can't really argue with a lot of the content they put out for the last
It's terrible.
40 years they've been around.
it's terrible, and I don't mean, and I'm not even saying terrible is like the quality. I'm talking. Well, that's not even the right way for me to say it either. I'm just talking about they're terrible because of the shit they're allowing to be on television.
No, I gotcha.
And MTV is just a terrible, terrible network anymore. If you go back, like I said, if you go back 20 years or however long ago it was to set, just as an example, to the first episode of The Real World, like I said, it was, they were hanging out at the house, they were going out to dinner, they were going and doing these challenges or whatever. They had shit to do.
Yeah.
And now
They had jobs.
it was considered a reality show, but
Back then, it probably was more reality than now.
Right. Now it's like, okay, let's find the biggest, trashiest girls we could find, and then let's find a bunch of beefed up
Dudes, they can't resist.
dudes that, and let's put them in a house and watch them go out every night, get completely annihilated, drunk,
And make terrible decisions.
and then come home and sleep with their roommates.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. I'm not exaggerating because I've seen it.
Yeah. Well, I think in a lot of those cases, probably 90% of the reality shows out there are not reality at all. It's all they're actors. They're basically acting. There probably was a couple takes of that. They told them to do things differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's very few shows that aren't like that. Like that show, Pawn Stars. It's a fun show to watch. Like when it comes to the actual items going in there, but they don't. Those prices on there are different,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the things they say they don't buy, or they show that they don't buy, they end up buying because you see them on the walls and in the display cases in later episodes.
Yep.
And they're doing that because they want you to believe that you're capable of making some money off some nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying. I don't know if they're trying to boost the economy or something, but like those shows are cool because they show you a lot of cool shit, and not. But like most of it is fake. Even down to the interactions. The interactions with the stars and shit are completely fake.
Right.
They're terrible actors, and you can see right fucking through it. But even down to like to what's going on, how much they're paying for it's all manipulated to make you think a certain way about it.
Right.
To make these people cool. Like, and they're ripping these people off is what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
The only show I know of that it's all like one take and it's real. Like what you see, like they're like, hey, this guy's gonna come in, he's got this. But what you're seeing is actually how it went down. Like it's not scripted. That's what makes it's an unscripted show, is what it is.
Which show?
Comic Book Man. I don't know if I
Oh.
said that.
No,
Comic
you
Book
didn't.
Man, I love that show because that show is more reality than not because they're really doing that to the point where in the second season lacked a lot. And I listened to a podcast with them on Kevin Smith's podcast because it's Kevin Smith's show and shit. And they talked about how they had a new production company because the first season was successful. And they took over and they pretty much tried to turn it into every other fucking reality show where they were having them do things again or saying like, no, do it like this. And Brian Johnson's like, fuck you. No. Like, I'm on this show because I'm me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be me and I'm not going to waste my fucking time. Like, the dude doesn't even work at the shop. He just hangs out there all the time. Like, he did work at the shop. He doesn't want to. Like, he ran the one in Los Angeles. Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash is the comic book shop they work at in there. And there was one in Los Angeles. He doesn't even really read. He likes certain comics, but he doesn't even really read comics. He just went out there to work for Kevin and shit. And he eventually came back to Jersey and just didn't want to do anything. Like, I love Brian Johnson. I'm not calling him lazy or anything, but, like, he literally, on the show, he's just sitting behind the counter, like, reading random books or looking at magazines, fucking around on his iPad, just like chiming in, saying like smart ass shit to the customers and shit. And it's great. Great. They don't need to change anything about it. But that show, they're one of the few shows that were like, fuck you, dude. Like, we're real around here. This is Jersey.
Right.
We're fucking Jersey boys. We nerds. We're gonna fucking sit in here and talk about whether or not the things fucking junk turned into rock and gets, or like, does Hulk's penis grow too when he fucking, why does it bend? Like, shit like that. They're going to do that stuff, and you're not going to tell them what not to do.
Right.
I don't know. But that's a really good show.
I'll check it out.
And that's what, like,
I've
my
never
point
seen
was
it,
that's one of the few shows that is more real than not when it
Right.
comes to that. But
Well, yeah. Duck Dynasty. That was kind of disappointing when I found out they got to the point where they were scripting a lot of that.
well, not only that, but before that show started, those dudes were like clean-shaven, straight-laced businessmen.
Actually, that's more rumor,
Really?
because yeah, they've shown. It was, fuck. I just drew a blank. True Hollywood Story. They did a True Hollywood Story on
Well,
there.
that's it.
And they've had, they've had their beards for a long fucking time. There was a point where they
Well, I mean,
were,
obviously they had to grow it.
yeah, there was a point earlier where they were nice and clean shaven all the time. But when you go back and look at the pictures that they showed of when they were obviously much younger.
Yeah, they were probably not successful at that time.
Yeah,
too.
they were.
They
They
probably
were
needed
much,
to be presentable.
Yeah, they were much younger.
Now that's their persona.
Right.
Them not having beards and shit would probably ruin their business.
It could.
I mean, it would ruin everything. It would ruin that whole idea of them.
But I loved that show for a long time. Every episode I'd watch, I would just laugh my ass off, and it was so funny. And then it was probably, I don't know which season it was for sure, but I'm gonna guess it was probably right around the 3rd season, where they started doing these, like, oh god, more like an intro back into the show, and they were, you could just tell it was obviously scripted.
Yeah.
And I was like, God dang it, you know,
Gosh dang it.
why would they fuck it up that way? You know,
Yeah.
it was just so obvious that it got to the point that it was scripted, and I thought, man, that sucks, because that was a good show.
Well, eventually
It was
people
funny.
people are very. Every day's kind of the same for a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you can only be so interesting for so long before you
Right.
have to make shit up.
Well, and the thing is, like, I agree with what you just said, and that's kind of the direction I'm about to go. But, yeah, you could tell after like the 2nd or so season, it was starting to get a little bit more repetitive. They were doing the same shit,
Yeah.
and then come season 3, they started like giving him things to do, like, what's his name, Willie. There was an episode where he had decided to boost morale with everybody and work. He took them to this little camp retreat thing, and they had to do all these different things. Well, come to find out later, that was something that the network set up for him to go do, just to, push the show along a little bit
Just-
further and give them,
it's a-
basically some better
it's a
content,
plot
some newer
point,
content.
basically.
It wasn't like there was a script where they were telling him what to say, telling him what to do. They just said, "Hey, this is what we would like for you to go do, and we're going to try and make an episode out of it."
No.
But
yeah.
you could see that it was almost forced. The stuff that they were doing,
Like they
just
didn't even
seemed
know what
forced.
to do, so they were just doing stuff.
Exactly. They weren't so much being themselves anymore. They were being what the network was saying. "Hey, we want you to try this."
See, that's when a show should end.
Exactly.
Like when it stops being good.
Yep.
I think that's why Lost ended the way it did, because they were just running out of shit, man. And I read later, like that's what ruined Lost for me, kinda, because that was a show I would probably rewatch every few years. But once I read that like Damon Lindelof or whoever and a lot of the writers said that they really didn't know where they were going and they were kind of just doing things because they thought it was cool.
Yeah, and they admitted that later, because I remember them
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
early on that they had
They had a whole plan.
the whole thing planned out. They knew
They did that
from
to keep you
start
watching.
to from when it started. They knew exactly the direction they wanted to go, and they knew exactly how they wanted to end it. And then after it was over, they said, "Well, actually, we had no idea how we were going
Yeah,
to end it."
that's why it ended the way it did. Which, I mean, they kept it consistently interesting, but watching it again, it just wouldn't be the same now, knowing that.
Right. I actually hated the way that ended. I liked it for a long
didn't.
time until I really gave it some thought, and because I rewatched the whole thing on Netflix. I liked the ending at first, but then I started realizing certain things didn't make sense with the way it ended,
Yeah.
because the way it ended was, oh, by the way, they're actually already all dead.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then explain to me how in how many seasons were there? 6?
Yes.
Okay, so explain to me, I don't know exactly what season it was, but explain to me how in season, we're going to say 4,
Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert, when they got rescued and Kate and Jack and everybody went back to the States, and all of a sudden, Jack's being a doctor again. He's working in the hospital again.
Yeah.
Kate is, what was her story? She was getting sued for something, wasn't she? I remember she was in and out of court for something. I don't remember exactly what happened, but
I think you're confusing the flashbacks of her story with when they got off the island.
No, because when she got off the island, remember her and Jack?
Had Claire's baby, and they were raising it like their own. But they
Exactly.
were like not together, but they were pretending to be.
Right, and then she ended up going. That's what it was. She ended up going through. I think it was a custody battle with for Aaron.
Somebody
baby was
representing
Aaron.
Claire, and she didn't know who it was.
Right, wanted the baby, so she was in and out of court for that. And then who else was rescued?
It was the Oceanic Six. It was like Hurley, Claire.
Well, they didn't all come back though. Remember?
no, there were 6 of them that were known to come back. That's why they were dubbed the Oceanic Six by the news. There was some
Oh, that's
that
right.
did come back, but it was not known. They like planned it out on a boat before they arrived on shore. You know what I mean?
Right.
Spoiler alert! I am sorry to anybody
spoiler
who has
alert.
not seen this. I warned you before we got into anything,
Yeah.
so I hope it didn't ruin anything.
And then, but then there were the others that didn't go back. But the way it ended by saying, "Oh, by the way, everybody's dead," and they've been dead this whole time. How did, like
Any
you
of that
said, the
happen?
6 all of a sudden get rescued? They're back in the States. Jack's a doctor again. Kate's doing what she's doing. Everyone's doing
Well-
what they're doing. And then all of a sudden, in order to go back, they have to get everybody together and agree to go back at the same time. So then they all go back.
But they don't.
What do you mean?
You're talking about the last episode. It's only a few people that go back.
But
in
that's
the
what
end.
not at the end. They ended up going back to hold on. Now I got to think about it.
Oh no, they all went back to the island again.
Yeah.
Jack went back and like, we gotta go back.
Right.
And they all went back to the island. They went through that whole like time thing, and
With the it just keeps coming back
they
as
go back to
Namaste.
the 70s.
But yeah, they go back and then
to when the Dharma Initiative
that
was
yeah.
going on.
Looking back on it, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
A lot of it doesn't, and they used a lot of like physics and scientific principles and shit to like make it all like valid and theoretically sound, you know. But I think they just dug themselves into a hole with those multiple endings, because really the way I took the ending was that they're all dead and they're all like waiting for each other or whatever. Like I believe that this is from what I understood and what I've read and watching it, because I've watched it a couple times. They all did die, but they all died at their own times. Like some of them got off the island. Jack died in that last episode on the island. You know, laying there just like he was in the first episode, but he was dying instead of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, waking up. They all died in their own lives at their own times and shit, but they all waited in this limbo in the afterlife for each other so they could all go to heaven or to the next stage together. That's what that was, according to what I've read, what I've thought when I saw it. Like, it was a way to give them a happy ending and kind of a tragic ending. It was a way to satisfy the viewer who actually gave a shit about the characters and still have that, like, tragic, somewhat logical ending. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And it all has to do with that, like, they were all there for a reason. They did all that. I don't know if they saved the world or what, but the island had that light and shit that was basically like God or like the spirit energy or whatever. I don't know. The show is confusing. Like,
yeah.
and once you find out that they had no idea where they were going, really, you know that's why.
Right.
But they just threw so much crazy shit in there that made it so ununderstandable there at the end that people either loved it or hated it because they looked at it and created an ending themselves out of what they gave you. Or you were just like, fuck this show, it wasn't going anywhere, they were dead all along. Like, most people thought what you thought, or think what you thought, you know what I mean? That it didn't make any sense and they were just all dead all along. When really, from what I've read, what I just said is what writers and people were going for there.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that's why I was just sitting here listening to you, because that would make, well, as much as it can anyway, that would make more sense. But
That's why they all kind of remembered each other in that like limbo state,
mm-hmm.
but didn't know how they knew each other, and then they all like met at that church and shit. Like it all came clear to them. Like to me, it's kind of like that concept we talked in the first episode where I said like in the afterlife we just kind of wake up and we're just like, oh yeah, that's right, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not exactly what, but it kind of goes along those lines. Like that was like purgatory in a sense.
Hmm.
They were all dead all along, kinda, but slowly over time they just went to this alternate like universe in which they habited I don't know what the word.
Inhabited.
Inhabited, there you go. Wow, I sound like a dipshit. There you go, Doug, I'm a dipshit.
Fuck, Doug.
That they inhabited just momentarily until they could, you know, go on to the next with each other.
Hmm.
I guess kind of goes along with that thing of karma, where like we're all having many lives and we're all in each other's past and future lives. We're just playing different roles. That's why you have certain feelings for people you may, you know, may not even really know in this life, but you like feel like you know that person, or you feel like you love that person, or like you're just somehow drawn to that person. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's because maybe in another life they were a very dear person to you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like in another life, I could be your dad, or in a past life, I could have been your cousin. You know what I mean? As weird as that is. That's
Yeah.
like
That's a whole nother episode.
yeah. But speaking of another episode, I believe we are about out of time, sir.
All right.
That is the second episode of Jay and Mark, and
I am Mark.
I am Mark, and that is Jay. Apparently, this is gonna be something we do every fucking episode. But yeah. Until next time,
Until next time, with new mics, a new board,
and
new-
hopefully a whole new world of sound.
hopefully. We'll see.
Hopefully, we accomplish something this time.
Hopefully.
But again, until next time.
Peace.
Knew that was coming.